Ladies and gentlemen, let me begin by declaring this truth. You are not designed to be defeated. You were not created to be a victim of your circumstances. You were born with purpose, wrapped in potential, and destined for greatness. But greatness is not revealed in ease. It is revealed in struggle. Struggles are life's way of waking up the strength that's been lying dormant within you. They don't come to destroy you. They come to expose you, to show you what's already inside you. Just as gold is refined by fire, so too is purpose refined by pressure. Don't curse your crisis. Don't run from your pain. Ask your struggle what it came to teach you, because every struggle carries a message. And that message is simple. There's more in you than what you see. When a seed is planted, it must first be buried in darkness before it ever sees the light. And in that dark place, it doesn't deep breaks open. Your struggle is not your burial. It is your breaking open. It is in the crushing that the oil flows. It is in the storm that the anchor is tested. It is in the battle that the warrior is revealed. Your pain is not pointless. Your tears are not wasted. Every tear waters the soil of your destiny. Every burden is shaping a strength you didn't even know you had. I came to remind someone today, your struggle is not the end of your story. It's the birthplace of your strength. You don't grow when things are easy. You grow when you're stretched. You grow when you're pressed. You grow when you decide that the fire will not consume you, it will refine you. So change your perspective. Don't say, oh, why is this happening to me? Say, what is this building in me? Because where there is no pressure, there is no power. You were built for this. And when it's all said and done, your struggle will become your strength, your mess will become your message, and your test will become your testimony. Rise up. Don't let the struggle define you. Let it refine you. Because strength is not what you have, it's what you become. Struggles are not signs of failure, because failure is the absence of purpose and direction, but struggle is evidence that something valuable is being contested. Something powerful is trying to emerge. Something divine is knocking at the door of your soul. And just as a seed must push through the soil to find the sun, your destiny must push through resistance to find its expression, because nothing worth having ever arrives without a process. And the process always involves pressure, and the pressure always produces perseverance. And that perseverance builds the kind of character that can carry what you were born to deliver. When life begins to push against you, when doors close, when people walk away, when resources dry up and storms start to gather around your vision, don't mistake the shaking for a sign of weakness, because the shaking is simply a signal that the foundation is being tested, not to break it, but to prove it. And it is through this proving ground that your inner strength, your unseen potential, your untapped wisdom begins to rise. Because what's in you can only come out of you when the outer layers of comfort and convenience are stripped away. Too many people abandon their assignment in the middle of the struggle because they misinterpret the resistance as rejection. But let me tell you, rejection is often redirection. And what you thought was a closed door may simply be a detour designed to strengthen your faith, sharpen your focus, and stretch your capacity to handle what you've been asking for, because your calling will always require more of you than your comfort zone is willing to release. And until you decide that the pain of growth is better than the safety of stagnation, your strength will remain imprisoned beneath the surface. Struggles are not curses. They are catalysts, divine appointments dressed in difficulty, disguised as setbacks but destined to develop you into someone you couldn't have become without them. Because character isn't built when things go right, purpose isn't forged in ease. And strength doesn't come from smooth roads, but from climbing the mountains that tell you no, walking through valleys that try to suffocate your faith, and facing battles that test not just what you believe, but who you are when believing feels like breaking. The enemy of your soul doesn't attack what has no value. He targets what threatens his grip on territory you were born to reclaim. So if the struggle has intensified, it's not because you're failing. It's because you're getting close to breakthrough, close to revelation, close to transformation. And just like a woman in labor doesn't interpret pain as a problem, but as proof that delivery is near, you must learn to see struggle not as punishment, but as preparation, because your strength is being born in the midst of your suffering. It's not just about surviving the struggle, it's about mastering the mindset that knows how to extract meaning from every moment, how to see the lesson in every loss, how to find the treasure in every trial, because there is nothing life can throw at you that you can't turn into wisdom, into worship, into witness, if you understand that pain is a teacher and hardship is a mentor that shows up not to destroy you, but to develop in you the endurance required to carry your purpose with humility and power. There will be moments when everything around you seems to contradict the promise within you. When the vision God gave you looks nothing like your current condition. When you're tempted to question your worth, your ability, your direction. But those are the exact moments when you must remind yourself that struggle doesn't mean stop. Delay doesn't mean denial. And silence doesn't mean absence. Because sometimes the greatest work is done in the dark, where roots grow deep and foundations are laid strong. And just because it's hard doesn't mean it's not holy. So keep pressing, keep pushing, keep believing, because the struggle you're in today is shaping the strength you'll need tomorrow. And what once felt like breaking will soon be seen as building, and what you thought was the end was really the beginning of your next dimension. Because your life was never meant to be measured by the battles you face, but by the strength you find in the middle of them. So don't run from the struggle, embrace it, because it is the evidence that something greater is on its way. Strength is not born in comfort, because comfort coddles potential while adversity awakens it. And as long as you live in the safe zone, the predictable zone, the place where everything is familiar and easy, you will never be introduced to the deeper layers of who you are. Because ease never demands excellence, and comfort never pulls purpose out of the shadows, and it's only when your back is against the wall, when you're pressed from every side, when what once worked no longer works, that you begin to access the level of power that was always inside of you but needed pressure to pull it to the surface. We are trained to avoid pain, to seek rest, to chase after the path of least resistance. But greatness is never found where it is easy. And no tree becomes mighty in a greenhouse. It must stand in the open field, where wind bends its branches, where storms shake its roots. Because only in the wind does the trunk strengthen, and only in the shaking does the foundation deepen. And if your life has been full of resistance lately, don't curse it. Because what is shaking you is also shaping you. You don't find champions in safe places. You don't find warriors in warm beds. You don't find visionaries in places of ease. Because strength is not something you're handed. It is something you're hammered into, forged like steel in the furnace of affliction, where the heat rises and the pressure mounts and the process feels unbearable. But it's the fire that burns off the unnecessary. It's the fire that purifies the motive. It's the fire that makes you useful for the weight of the calling you carry. Comfort may feel good, but it will never grow you. And many have mistaken convenience for blessing, not realizing that too much ease leads to complacency. And too much comfort leads to compromise, and before you know it, the fire of your purpose is dimmed by the lull of pleasure. But those who are called to shake the earth cannot afford to fall asleep in comfort, because the call is too great and the mission too urgent to let soft living sabotage divine assignment. Every mountain you climb, every wall you hit, every door that slams in your face is not an obstacle, it is an opportunity for your strength to multiply. Because muscle doesn't grow without resistance and power doesn't expand without pressure. And what God wants to birth in you requires a strength that cannot be manufactured in comfort, but must be birthed in conflict, where faith is tested, where fear is confronted, where weakness is exposed and turned into wisdom. It is in the wilderness, not the palace, where kings are made. It is in the cave, not the castle, where leaders are carved. It is in the dry places, the lonely places, the dark places where no applause echoes and no spotlight shines, that your roots grow deep and your soul grows strong. Because real strength isn't loud. It's consistent, it's disciplined, it's built brick by brick in the unseen places where nobody's watching but heaven is recording. So if you find yourself in discomfort, in transition, in moments where nothing feels stable and everything seems uncertain, don't be discouraged, because that is the birthplace of true strength. And if you stay the course, if you don't quit in the crushing, if you hold on in the heat, then what emerges from the ashes of that discomfort will be a version of you that hell can't shake, storms can't stop, and fear can't silence. Because in the end, comfort may create a soft life, but only struggle can produce a strong one. And the legacy you leave will not be built by the days you were safe, but by the nights you stood when it would have been easier to quit, the mornings you rose when your soul was tired, the battles you fought when no one knew your name. And in those moments, your strength was born not in comfort, but in the fire that called it forth.